Alright. This recording. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? When I saw this, I either gonna watch it or make a video. So I'm doing both at the same time. Right now, I only saw like the number 10 spot of this, but like, bro, my favorite anime of all time. I can't wait for his opinion. Okay, just make sure the volume is at an okay level, because when I did another one using this, like the audio was really loud. So I kind of want you guys to like listen to this and also listen to my voice to make sure like the audio balances out okay. So I hope this is like okay enough for me to hear it.
Has fired up our hearts and made our tears shed for over 10 years now, and through the years we've seen plenty of heartbreak and sentimental scenes emerge from the much-loved manga and anime. We've cheered the beloved mages on, cried for them when they were at their lowest points, and laughed alongside them throughout their adventures. With the show currently on its final season, we're counting down the 10 most heartbreak...
Bro, like, I'm really hyped for the final season of Fairy Tail.
Scenes from Fairy Tail, from emotional character deaths to tearful goodbyes. Let's take a look at the scenes that made many of us become a faithful member of the Fairy Tail family.
Oh my gosh, I love this anime so much. Yes, Alexis be Fairy Tail, yes. That one, I can agree. That one, he leaving Fairy Tail. In the beginning of Fairy Tail, he was just like this jerk. He was like this. He had some sort of like a bad boy type of jerk mood that he's in, but he's fairly quiet. He sometimes is around when he speaks, but yeah, he's a very good character, and I like right now he's just being like a tough guy and everything. I like his character.
Start off the list with the moment when Laxus leaves Fairy Tail. The decision to wage a war against members of his own guild ultimately led to him being kicked out. While the action itself wasn't what moved us, what came next surely did. As the Fantasia parade carried on and everyone in Magnolia enjoyed themselves, a familiar symbol coined by Laxus at a young age with his grandfather near him rose into the hands of all the Fairy Tail.
Honestly, I have that emoji like in my bio, my Instagram, like my personal one, because that is like the most iconic thing that I can remember in Fairy Tail is this. Like all their hands being up like that, meaning like Fairy Tail is number one.
Members, a symbol known as I'm looking your way, and moving Laxus enough to break down and look towards his family with tears in his eyes. Knowing his family was still there, waiting for him to return a better and changed man, was more than enough for the Electric Mage to carry on and move on from his past mistakes.
Oh my gosh, yes. This one was very emotional. Even for Laxus, man. Natsu. Oh, Natsu can be a Natsu. Oh my gosh. Oh, I remember. Oh, this one. That one's like emotional.
At number 9, we have
this one. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't know if being in the 9th spot, but I want to hear this dude's reasoning. But honestly, Jalal, if you guys never watched Fairy Tail, this has to be like a must anime you have to watch at least one time. Basically, he was corrupted by this evil thing. I think it's like an entity from the Demons of Book of Zero, something along those lines. And he was corrupted, and now I know something happened to him because Wendy revived him. Like this version of Jalal, because there's a Jalal and Opus. You just need to watch it because there's a lot to know about this, but
Jalal's arrest where Urza cries for Jalal. With Jalal back on the good side once more, many members of the Fairy Tail Guild look forward to what happens next for the once enemy wizard. However, criminal pasts aren't easy to overlook, especially in the eyes of the law. Soon enough, Jalal's taken away to serve his time for his crimes against Fiore, despite the efforts of his new friends and allies. His parting words were a memory of how he came to give Urza her last name before disappearing. As dawn comes the next morning, we're greeted by the appearance of Fairy Tail's strongest female having a total breakdown, a scene that left us in awe of how even the strongest of us have our breaking points.
Yeah. Listen, I remember I talked about this with my girlfriend before. Oh my gosh. The relationship she has with Jalal, it's just... I top 5 ships right now. Jalal and Urza. Jalal and Urza, top 5 best ships ever in Fairy Tail. Number 1 either has to be Natsu or Lucy, or Gagio or Levine, because those two are my favorites, and I love Gray and Juvia. I love this one. Oh, this one was so messed up. Oh, this is traumatizing, even for Wendy. So basically, she grew up in a village from one man who made he made people, but I don't know if it was like living or something, but he created like people for Wendy, for not to be alone and everything, and that's really sad.
Next up, it's the moment when Wendy finds out the truth about Kate Shelter.
Yeah.
If you thought Jalal's exit was hard, then what came after would prove to be even worse.
God.
Kate Shelter, the guild that took Wendy in and raised her, would soon be revealed to be nothing more than a mere illusion created by the
That's what
guild
it was,
master
illusion. Like, I know there weren't real
in order
people.
to make her feel happy and loved. And while Wendy's time with her guild would soon come to an end, seeing her tears for her guild master and its member to return stuck to our hearts. What really did it and made this moment was when Wendy was at her lowest, Urza reached out to help her. Knowing the pain of losing someone you care for, Urza opened a new door for Wendy and helped her find a new family, that family being the Fairy Tail Guild.
Oh man. See Wendy cry, man, that got me in tears.
本当の仲間がいるではないか。
Oh, I remember. Oh, wait. This has to be... No! No, they cannot do this. They cannot put this at number 7. They do not know how they're ranking this right now. This is not supposed to be number 7. Honestly, no, this is terrible. This is a terrible video. They're putting his death at number 7. This is a terrible video. Oh my gosh. I cried that episode, and I made a post about it on my Fans and Ghosts page. Bro, his death, bro, it got me in tears, man. And they're putting it at the number 7 spot. That has to be either the top 3. That has to be top 3. Putting it at number 7, no. They're doing this all wrong.
At number 7, it's Makarov's sacrifice.
Gosh.
We've seen plenty of sacrifices and tough decisions made in the most recent...
Okay, yes, but like Makarov is like the biggest one, because he's been through the guild through Fairy Tail with everything, and he's just a lovable character, and he's basically a father to all members of Fairy Tail. They treat each other like family. I love that so much, and seeing his sacrifice, it brought me to tears. I'm not gonna lie, but they're putting this at the number 7 spot, bro. I don't even know if I want to watch this video anymore.
Season, but few seem to compare with Makarov's decision to lessen the number of enchanted foot soldiers so his children could continue the battle without having to deal with the minor threats. This comes at a cost, however, and by using fairy law, it ultimately leads the Fairy Tail Guildmaster to his own death, even though he managed to defeat 70 to 80% of the enemy. Standing stoically in place and with a protective stance, Makarov passes away and leaves his children knowing the true cost of war and that they now have something to fight for, as well as the desire not to lose anyone else in the final battle between themselves and Zerif.
No. They did this so wrong. They put his death on number 7. I'm going to check the comments after this to see what they think about the number 7 spot. Bro, his death should not be in the number 7 spot. I'm pissed. They did this all wrong. Oh my gosh. Oh, I remember this one. Oh man, this is the son of Ura, the same person that teach Leon and Gray Ice Maker Magic.
6, we have Altier's Sacrifice. The grand magic games end in a way none of us thought possible, with an eerie warning of the future and many of us witnessing the deaths of many of our favourite characters. It was hard to accept the best possible ending. Altier, a villain who'd been moved to do good, deciding her own life was not worth more than those around her, casts last ages in the hope of saving her allies from an unspeakable fate. After she casts her spell and only manages to rewind time by a mere minute, her thoughts about her life being worth only a minute takes us on an emotional roller coaster. However, what comes next is what truly made Altier's sacrifice stick in our hearts.
I mean, like, with her sacrifice, it helped everybody when they were fighting. I don't remember. Okay, this is the Grand Magic Games. I think this is when all the dragons were released. Like, there's, like, more to this episode, like, but, yeah, it did save everybody's
Grey
life.
catches sight of her old and grey form on the way back to Magnolia. She tells him not to seek her out. With the idea of him losing his mother and daughter who helped save him, he's moved to tears himself, as were we.
Okay.
Next, we have Gargiel.
Bro, this is another one. I cried because I love how Gargiel, Levi, and Lily interact with each other. I love them. I love them to death. That honestly what got me into Fairy Tail, because I was on Instagram. I think it was like a year ago, because I saw photos of Levi, and like there's like different artworks of Levi and Gargiel together, like comic books, like different stories about them, and like I like those two. I like her being short and Gargiel being tall, having a bad boy type of vibe, and like I was wondering where did these characters come from. Then I look at Fairy Tail, brought me here because of those two.
Gargiel Red Fox was introduced originally as a foil for Natsu, a dragon slayer with different morals and at times questionable actions.
Yeah.
But when he joined a Fairy Tail and changed for the better, it was clear many of us were becoming attached to him.
Yeah.
From how he defended the lovable bookworm Levi to giving his all to make Panther Lily his exceed companion, Gargiel quickly became a favourite in the series. But when Bloodman's vortex proved too much for him to handle, he ultimately decided he needed to take the enemy out with him as well if need be. Despite Levi's pleas for him to let her help, she's held back by Panther Lily. Then comes Gargiel's confession, saying he wanted to be with her forever and that a future without her was his greatest fear. Then he's gone, and many of us were left terrified that we'd just witnessed the end of the Dragon Slayer. But luckily, by Irene's magic, he was alive and well again, despite the loop of emotions many had been thrown through.
Oh my gosh, that got me into tears, dog. That got me into tears. I'm not gonna lie, that got me into tears. Oh no. Future Lucy. Her death. Man.
At number 4, we have Future Lucy's death. The arrival of the melancholy Lucy Heartfilia from the future made viewers know that what was to come next would be unexpected. With Future Rogue dead set on killing the current day Lucy, it was clear that future Lucy knew she'd have to sacrifice herself in order to save the future and her own past self. She asked to see her guild mark once more as her final words. As she takes her last breath, we see how great it would affect the most influential people in her life.
That would have been way worse if it was actually the present Lucy. Oh my gosh. You don't know how many people would
From Wendy and Carla's stunned silence, with their eyes brimming with tears, to Happy's tearful goodbye to future Lucy, and then finally, to Natsu's angered desire to make sure this doesn't happen again to Lucy, it drove many of us to tears. So much that when future Lucy did indeed pass on and meet her guild once more in the afterlife, we cried in relief along with the celestial mage.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Is it? Yep. I knew it. Silver's goodbye.
Next up, it's Silver's goodbye. Gray's past and the trauma of Deliura drove him to become a stronger and capable wizard. So when the Tartaros Guild raised his father from the dead, it seemed that Gray was going to relive the past of losing his father. To make matters worse, Juvia was forced to choose between giving her own life so Gray could remain with his father, or kill the necromancer who brought him back in order to defeat the Demon Guild. In the end, with a teary goodbye and a new ability, Gray says goodbye to his father. Silver's parting words help both Juvia and Gray move forward, but not without feeling guilty for their actions.
Yeah.
この力俺から
That's one of the saddest ones right there. Like having his dad manipulated by the micro cancer was really messed up, and it was like hard for me to watch him fight his dad. It's just Nah, I'm cool. Ads are great, man. And I thought I wasn't gonna get one in this video. No, oh no! Oh my gosh! Ignil's death. Ignil's death, bro. Natsu was in tears. Oh my gosh! Like, the ironic thing is, since he was a child, Ignil left on July 7th, I think. And it was like, I think some whatever year it was. And his whole life, he gotten stronger while he was trying to look for Ignil. That was like his motivations, man. And like,
at number 2, we have another death. Yes, you guessed it. It's Ignil's death. The Tartaros arc not only had the parting of Gray's father, but also of Natsu's adopted father Ignil as well. Since the beginning of the series, Natsu had been searching for his father who disappeared.
Yeah.
When the pair were reunited, it seemed all was well, or at least until Acnologia ended Ignil's life right there before Natsu's eyes. Even after Mard Gear was defeated and the other Dragon Slayers were bidding goodbye to their own dragon parents, Natsu was mourning the death of his own dragon parent. But despite the pain and tears that Ignil's death brought, Natsu moved even further and vowed to get even stronger to protect the ones he loved from the same fate.
This one bamboozled me so
And
hard.
finally, at number 1, we have the moment when
Yeah, but this is like the same thing with Natsu. Like, Aquarius was like the first celestial wizard, or no, not she was celestial spirit. That was, I think it was Lucy's mother's key, and then she passed it on to someone else, so they gave it back to her. Anyways, it was Lucy's key, and to sum it up, the situation, Lucy needed to break one of her keys to order to summon the Spirit King, and Aquarius told her to break her key to order to save her friends.
Lucy breaks Aquarius's key.
Man,
Lucy
that was really
Half-Video
hard.
wasn't known as a brutal fighter in the Fairy Tail series. However, when backed against the wall and with her guild members in need of her help, she's always willing to give her all in order to save them. Thus, she was given the ultimate choice to make: save her friends, or keep one of the few mementos of her mother, the celestial spirit Aquarius. Despite the hard decision her to do it, Lucy was still conflicted to the point where her own life was in danger thanks to Jackal. But with Aquarius's moving words, Lucy breaks her key and summons the celestial spirit king.
It's
Despite
not that
her saving
sad.
the day, it was clear the loss of Aquarius was something that would take her a while to get over. And even in the present day anime, Lucy's resolve to find Aquarius's new key shows how dedicated she is to having the spirit at her side once more.
That one did get me though. Because like, she always hated Lucy when she summons her up in like worst time. Well, like, to describe her, she's a little bit mad and she can be a little bit crazy at times. Well, not like full crazy. She just like gets her anger out on Lucy, and it's really funny to watch how they interact. But I mean, like,
It's sad to think Fairy Tail will end soon, but looking
Yeah.
back at all the memories and good times they've shared and given us, it's clear that the anime had become so much more than a mere show to many of us. From the
Exactly.
guild members' hardships to their tears and resolve to move forward, we've been there alongside them each step of the way. And while the final arc's soon to come to a close, no
Yep.
matter how much time passes or new shows we fall in love with, Fairy Tail will always remain strong in our hearts. We'll always remember to look their way when we need a reminder of true friendship, family, and magic. So which
Exactly.
moments did you feel were the saddest? Make sure you comment below. Like the video if you
Okay,
did.
I don't like the video. Okay, so I agree. I love all the suggestions. So I feel like it should have been Makarov's death should be number 1. Ignil's death number 2. Then Aquarius's key. No. Makarov's death. Makarov's death. Ignil's death. Silver's goodbye. And maybe it's just like the first man. It's just like it's just Makarov's death. He's been with the guild for. I just cannot express that enough. How much Makarov means to me, especially. He treated everybody as their children, and I just love like their motivations to help one another. It's just I don't know, putting his death at the number 7 spot. Yeah, I'm not gonna agree with that. It should have been at the top 3. At the top 3. Ignil's death, yes. It should be somewhere at the top 3 as well. And so does Silver's goodbye. And yes, I will agree, Gajil's death was pretty sad. And that he used to be a bad guy and wanted to be a good guy, but I just he's just like close to the number 3 spot, but it's just like I just gotta go with my 3 boys, Makarov, Ignil, and Silver, man. And then Gajil's death and Aquarius, that could be it's really not debatable. It's just like how you look at it, like who do you love more, or which death do you favor more? Okay, not in that way, but it's just I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below, and I'll link the video in the description as well. I will say this again. I do not agree on the number 7 spot. It's really dumb and stupid, and they just gotta. I feel like they just gotta rearrange the deaths, because like the most saddest one I ever watched throughout the whole series was Makarov's death, and then Ignil and all that. But it's just Makarov's death. Like it's just really means a lot. So yeah, hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, night, day, afternoon, evening, whatever the occasion is. My name is Ghost, if you're not Jordan, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.